So welcome to everyone joining us. We're just going to give a few more minutes to see who joins us this evening because it's just 6 o'clock now. So this is the community meeting for 4901 Battery Lane, but we're going to give another minute or two just to see, because there are people that are coming in. Welcome, everyone. We're just giving another minute or two to give everybody a chance to log in. So Ed, from your photo on your screen, you look like that is either a puppy with big paws who's going to be big or he's already big.
Oh, I'm unmuted. I was that was a long time ago. It was a year ago. So now she's pretty big.
So she's grown into those paws.
It's a golden retriever, so she's about 65 pounds now, and she's a little over a year old. So reasonable size.
Yep.
Thanks for asking.
I just can't let my dog see the screen because otherwise I won't get through this meeting.
Exactly.
So are most people residents along Battery Lane, tenants in the building? Anybody want to give us an idea of where their perspective is so I make sure that I present and sort of hit some of the high points that you guys want?
This is Gene Pinzer and I'm a tenant.
Oh, great. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. And you can also put it in the chat if you want. One of the things that I'll mention now, which I'll mention again, is that if anybody on this call would like to actually be on the email notice list for all the notices that will go out on this project over the course of the review period, you can send me a private, even a private chat, or just put it in the chat if you want your email address to be included on the official notice list. So feel free to do that. We'll collect the chat or any private chat that you send to me alone, and I'll collect all those emails and put you on the sign-in sheet. So you'll get direct email updates for all the different notices that have to go out over the course of this project. So you can do that at any time, and I'll remind everyone again at the end. Okay, so it's about 6:05. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get started. I just want to tell everyone I'm Nancy Reglin. I'm from the law firm of Shulman Rogers. I'm land use counsel for the applicant, W.C. Smith Development. And with me tonight is Brian Strott from W.C. Smith. They have managed this property for the owner Bliss Properties since 1974 or something along those lines. So I'm sure if you're all tenants, you're very well familiar with W.C. Smith, who's your manager. I also want to advise everyone that this is being recorded. That's part of the process as we went to virtual meetings. So this will actually be posted on the Shulman Rogers YouTube, and in your notice there was a link to it, so you'll be able to get to it, or you just remember Shulman Rogers and go to our YouTube page just by putting that in, and you'll be able to review this or send anybody else you know to review the meeting. So welcome to the pre-submission community information meeting for the 4901 Battery Lane project. And some of you were with us for the pre-submission meeting for the sketch plan. This is the next two applications that are being filed. So this is another pre-submission meeting, but for the site plan and for the preliminary plan. And the purpose of this meeting is intended to give you information about what's intended to be included in those applications, and also provide you an opportunity to give us feedback or ask any questions. So I'm going to start off with a presentation and overview of the project as it's now been moved through design to site plan and preliminary plan of subdivision. And then we'll do a timeline. We'll do how to participate, and then we'll open it up for any comments or questions that anybody has. And with me today are part of the project team, which is Chris Huffer, who's from our architect, SK&I, Shanda Beaufort from our engineer, which is Vika Maryland, and Trini Rodriguez from our landscape architect, Parker Rodriguez. So let me get right into it. So we, so I'm going to start sharing my screen. Hopefully this will work. Okay, can everyone see my screen? Yep, okay, great. So most of you familiar, since you live on this site, it's colored in red here. It's located right on the north edge of Bethesda next to NIH in the Battery Lane district, which is outlined in red. There are two concentric circles on this plan to show you it's about half a mile in each direction to the Bethesda metro station, and to the north to the medical center station on NIH. This gives you a little closer in view, simplified, to show you what are some of the key highlights in the Battery Lane district neighborhood. The property is outlined in red. Again, the building is shown in yellow. The green dotted lines are the trail system. So you see the Bethesda Trolley Trail across the top, which goes through NIH all the way north to the Pike Corridor District and other trails further north. It also comes south about one property to the west of this site, down through Battery Lane Park and into the Woodmont Triangle and the rest of Bethesda. The sector plan for the Bethesda downtown sector plan looked at Battery Lane and also recommended that there be some connectors in the neighborhood that would get you from the Bethesda Trolley Trail over to Woodmont Avenue. So if you look at the very top of our property at 4901 Battery Lane, there outlined in red, you'll see there's a green dotted line that goes from the Bethesda Trolley Trail to Woodmont Avenue. That's the east-west connector. And the segment right next to Woodmont Avenue has already been, an easement's been granted. The next segment is one of the buildings in the Brown Development Project that was approved in 2019. So they're planning to do a segment. And then this project is planning to do a segment. So eventually there will be a continuous segment between Woodmont Avenue and Battery Lane. In addition, if you look across Battery Lane south towards Woodmont, you will see that there are also 2 pedestrian connections that are proposed in the sector plan to get you from Battery Lane over to Rugby Avenue into Woodmont Triangle. So eventually we'll have a nice neighborhood connection of trails going all the way through this. So let's then move on to, you guys are familiar since you're all in this particular neighborhood, but you're familiar where this site is located is about one property north and east of the Bethesda Urban Park. It's next to Sunrise Senior Living Facility, and it's about 415 feet west of Woodmont Avenue. So as we came out of the sketch plan, which was approved in January by the Park and Planning Commission, the Planning Board, certain design goals were out there, which was to design this project for placemaking, compatibility, connectivity, building placement, street activation, a lot of the goals of the sector plan. And in addition, this project has the goal of creating a signature residential tower that connects with the pedestrian experience, which we're going to talk about, which is Battery Lane, the trail that goes north-south, and the trail across the rear, which is east-west. And to connect to all of this activity and connectivity within the neighborhood so that it relates and is comfortable for everyone. So when we went through sketch plan, which was that very first step, which was a conceptual massing of this building, it did go through something called a design advisory panel, which is Park and Planning's architectural kind of review. And that DAP panel recommended a couple of things. It recommended that when we went to site plan, that we strengthen the relationship of the rear yard and the activities in the rear yard to that trail across the NIH boundary, that it provide consistent pavement materials and other identifiers so that people would understand that this is a private trail. I mean, that it's a public trail, I'm sorry, and that they would feel comfortable entering the site and moving through this connector. And then, of course, because the concept plan was only conceptual, to move into site plan and to further identify the style of the building with a base, middle, and a top. So let's go and show you what the building looks like for site plan. So this is the frontage of the building along Battery Lane. The project's 372 dwelling units. At sketch plan, we got approved for up to 399. The project is now proposed at 372 dwelling units. It's 12 stories, 120 feet. It has a rooftop pool, amenity space, and deck. It has 305 underground parking spaces, and it has 2 through block connections on an internal driveway so that all drop-offs, all loading, and all traffic to the parking are handled on site and not on Battery Lane. And from Battery Lane, the driveway, which is currently in the middle of this site as it exists today, was moved to the east side. And the sidewalk along Battery Lane has been moved from the curb, which was currently exists only 4 feet wide. It's been moved away from the curb. There are street trees, a 7-foot sidewalk that's been widened, and then a second row of trees along the building face. So let's just run around the building and give you an idea of what it looks like. So this is the side of the building as you're coming down from Woodmont. And you can see that the sides of the buildings are as articulated and complex of a design as the facade. There's no backside to this building on any facade. So this is the east facade along the internal driveway. And what you can see here is on the left-hand wing of the building, you can see a covered porte-cochere, which is a circular drop-off and pickup point for the building. On the central wing, you can see that there's a loading dock, which has bays for move-in loading, for services, and for trash. And then on the far right, the driveway proceeds to the final wing where there's an underground parking garage entrance. When we go to the rear view of this property, and I will tell you, all the trees on NIH and all the trees on Sunrise have been removed from this view, just so you can see the back of this building. But in fact, there are quite a few trees on NIH and quite a few trees at the back of Sunrise. So along the back of this building, you can see that it's fully articulated with balconies and the rooftop terraces and the rooftop amenity space looking out over NIH. You can see that east-west public connector with people moving back and forth along it. And then you can see that there will be entrances for residents from that rear connector into the building. And then we move along to the west side, which is this is the side that's tucked along Sunrise building. Their driveway you can see in the foreground here. And tucked into this building is a very large at-grade courtyard. And then there are two wings of the building on this side that cuddle this courtyard and basically prevent the noise from the street and the noise from, the traffic that's north to provide a great courtyard experience. And then Sunrise is here, grayed out on the left, so you can see what, if you're at Bethesda Urban Park and you're looking north on, east on Battery Lane, what this building looks like from this side. Okay, so this is a bird's eye view to give you a better understanding because it's the driveway side. So here you can see the porte-cochere with the circular drop-off. You can see the loading dock and you can see it heading down to the parking garage. But if you look at the far right of this property, you can also see that their pedestrian connector, that north-south connector to the rear, is got trees along it, is separated from the driveway, but has full visibility to the driveway to give you all that activity and light from the driveway to make you feel very comfortable on the pedestrian connection. And you can see that there are numerous step backs of the building at multiple heights to reduce the perspective of the scale of this building, but also to create a lot of great outdoor spaces for the residents. And this is a close-up view of the front entrance, which is on the center of the building at Battery Lane. And then this is standing in Battery Lane, looking down the driveway. You can see a grayed out building in the far view, that's NIH. And to the right, that's the Battery Lane apartments next door. But you can see clearly here how that pedestrian connection that runs north-south from Battery Lane connects to the Battery Lane sidewalk and moves through the site to the rear. And you can see how the driveway is designed to pull all of the activity away from Battery Lane so that all movements for this particular building are on site and not affecting Battery Lane. let's look at the trail a little bit more closely. So we're now in the rear right-hand corner of the building. So this is the northeast corner of the building. To the left, you can see the woman in green is walking towards Battery Lane along that trail. And you can see that there's a nice, beautiful node at the crossroads to give a moment of respite and seating for people walking on the trail. And then as you proceed to the right, which is along the rear property line, so you can see people walking down there, you can see that the trail is open to NIH with all of its trees. And you can see that there is a dog run fenced in on the left-hand side. So if you like to watch dogs have antics, you'll be able to use this trail and see the dogs playing in their dog run. And then this is a picture of the node on the west side of the building, and you can see how it connects so that residents can enter from the trail into the garage or into the building on the courtyard side. So the trail's been designed to be open and comfortable and to provide basically another mode of connectivity through the neighborhood. So I'm going to give you a second to look at this plan in the project in plan, so you can sort of see what I've been showing you through all of these elevations and perspectives. So I'll just give you a minute to look through the plan. As you can see, this building, the full front of the building is all glassed in, and it's all lobby and amenity space. Okay. And then these are representative floor plans for some of the lower floors, then some of the middle floors. And you can see 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, and a few studios. And then as you get to the top floors, and then on the right is the rooftop deck. And you can see there's a pool on the north side of it. There's some amenity space. There's lots of outdoor spaces for residents to enjoy. And you'll see a lot of the green color on the roof. Those are green roofs to reduce the stormwater runoff from this building. So let's talk a little bit about anticipated project timeline. So we expect the application to be filed this month. And the design advisory panel, we actually filed today, and we're expecting to be reviewed by that architectural panel on February 23rd. And you can go to Park and Planning's website and you can watch it live streamed. You can also pick it up afterwards and watch a recording of it. Then we expect that staff and county agency reviews will be between February and June of 2022. This is a period of time that you can participate by reaching out to staff. This is also the period of time where the staff will review the schools and traffic impacts of the project. A traffic study will be submitted with this application. I will note that in Bethesda, you don't submit a traffic study for vehicular traffic. Instead, the traffic study focuses on pedestrian, bicycle, and transit use in the area of the project. And then how to participate. So once we actually file an application, all of our plans and our reports, our studies, our writings will all be uploaded to this website. It's montgomeryplanning.org/ development. And the site plan number is here and the preliminary plan number, but they also have a map, and all you have to do is go to 4901 Battery Lane on the map, and it will take you right to this connection, and you can see every plan online. It will also list the assigned reviewer, who we believe is going to be Grace Bogdan, but it will officially be assigned there on that site. And you can contact them at the number here. You can also reach out to applicants' counsel, which my contact information is here, but it was also on your notices. And if you want to receive email notices for anyone that's joined since the start of this program, you can send me in the chat or through a direct chat and your email, so that we can put you on the official notice list to get any notices that come out regarding this project, about any hearings that are coming up and that sort of thing. And we'll include you on the sign-in sheet for today. So I'm gonna move through to questions and answers. If you could just identify yourself and where you live or what condo or neighborhood you represent, that will be helpful for the record. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer more specifics to whatever you're particularly interested in hearing about tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to see if there's anyone that wants to kick off with a comment or a question.
Well, this is Ed Forgenson. I live over on Northport Lane. I'm over in the townhouses in Camelot Views. I'm not really representing the the HOA, but I'm involved with them. And I guess the only big question for this, as well as all the projects that are being proposed on Battery Lane, this looks like a very nice rendering, but I mean, it is something like whatever it is, 10 times the scale of what's there, and they're going to be now all the other Adlon or whatever it is properties are going to be going through this as well. Since you mentioned who then is responsible for the traffic survey, because Battery Lane already has a lot of speeding. It's not a street that is particularly wide. It does have a couple of crosswalks where the park is, but obviously this is going to have a tremendous amount of impact on the traffic, and we're already a shortcut between Wisconsin Avenue, Rockville Pike, and Old Georgetown, and there's other development, of course, coming along Old Georgetown where the rescue squad is. So how is this not contributing to a massive increase in traffic, and how are we supposed to cope with that? And it was interesting your point about, I know there's been proposals to widen Battery, add protected bike lanes, but I don't really understand where all that is in the process at this point.
So I'll give you a couple of answers. When we submit our traffic study, you're welcome to reach out to the planner at Park and Planning and get to the traffic planner there and get real specifics of your questions answered. And we're happy to answer any questions that you have. But also, the Battery Lane is 50 feet wide from curb to curb. And right now you have it painted out with 2 drive lanes and some parking along it, except a lot of that's been eliminated recently when they painted the bike lanes on each side of Battery Lane. What they're planning to do, according to the sector plan and the bike master plan, is those 2 separate bike lanes are going to be combined on the south side of Battery Lane with a median, so that there will be a cycle track, 2-way cycle track, the full length of Battery Lane from Old Georgetown Road up to Woodmont Avenue, where it will connect to the cycle track that will be on Woodmont Avenue. And It will narrow Bethesda, the Battery Lane, down to just 2 drive lanes in each direction, which should slow traffic down a little bit and maybe make it not as enticing as a cut through to Old Georgetown Road. Overall, the big picture on traffic is that all of Bethesda, from its connection at Cedar Lane all the way down to Chevy Chase at the other end at Bradley, the county did a traffic study and they think they have capacity for X number of square feet of development. And that's why, as long as this project is within that cap on development in Bethesda, we're not doing a vehicular traffic study. Instead, they are focusing now on the county on Vision Zero, which is focusing on pedestrian safety and pedestrian movement, cyclist safety and cyclist movement, and then improving all the transit options. So like, for example, on Battery Lane and throughout a lot of downtown Bethesda, there aren't a lot of bus shelters with real-time information. And so a lot of these projects are being required to put in bus shelters and real-time information in their lobby about when a bus is coming and when the next bus is coming, et cetera. So the county is trying to move more people, especially the newest residents that move here, to have less reliance on their car and to fully utilize other modes of getting around Bethesda. So I don't know, Ed, if that answers your question, but that gives you a very long-winded answer about a lot of issues.
That's super helpful, and I'm, that all makes sense. And I understand that that's very helpful, and I just, I'm not incredibly versed on this. I've read some of the stuff on the master plan, and over the years of being here, but that's very helpful. So thank you.
Okay. Can I answer any questions from anyone else? Oh, I think there was something in the chat. Let me pull something up. So let's see. It says, do you have any sense of the timeline of when current tenants will need to vacate? So let me just talk a little bit about process. So this project has been entitled through a sketch plan. We're filing for site plan and preliminary plan, which is going to take us, through the summer, basically. After that, it probably takes another year to get any engineering done for permits. And then you'd file permits and then you could start construction. That would be fast tracking. But at every point in time, the owner has to evaluate and move forward, decide how fast they're going to move forward. So there's no good answer for you right now, other than this is the fastest that it might happen would be 2 years from now, not from today, but 2 years from the site plan approval. But it actually could take longer. And I know that the landlord and its manager has already been working through plans to figure out communications with their tenants to give everyone as much time of a heads up as possible about when the next step is going to be happening. And the great thing is you'll know when the next step is happening, like you'll know when the site plan is moving forward, and you can find out if permits have been filed and if permits are moving forward. So, it's fairly transparent process for you to know what step of the process this owner and manager are in. And I don't know, Brian, if you want to add anything to your tenants.
Yeah, Nancy, I'll add as well that as applicant, we have only been released by the owner to proceed with this entitlement process for the site. There hasn't been any dialogue from the owner as of today, when or if the project would move forward with the proposed plan. That said, though, as Nancy stated at the start of the meeting, W.C. Smith has been an active property manager at this site since the 1970s. So we have an extensive history on this at this site, and with the tenants who have been there for a very long time. And we are relationship and community individuals and a management company. So from that perspective, tenants should be aware that, when or if that time comes, when the proposed plan moves forward, that the notice to the tenants would be provided with substantial time and notification.
Right.
This is Gene Pinzer, if I could ask, I appreciate you trying to give us an idea of the timing, because it's most critical to us. So you said 2 years from the initial filing, maybe 1.5 years from now is the earliest, the fastest track, but it could be 3 years or 4 years.
Right, exactly.
And have you considered the disturbance to the senior facility next door? Would be years and years of construction, noise, bother, starting at ridiculously early in the day.
Yes, we've been in conversations already in meetings with Sunrise. So those
And-
conversations will move forward. We're still just in entitlement, Eugene. So until we move forward to a phase where they're going to pull permits, and they're intending to pull permits, I mean, we'll get into a whole construction management plan, of what's going to happen all around Battery Lane and all the adjoining properties.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, it'll come in the future, but that's not yet. We're first going to get the approvals to see what we can build.
I just don't see any way to avoid the noise and disturbance to Sunrise.
Yeah, I mean, urban construction has some interesting challenges, but it's been going on all over Bethesda. So
Sure,
there's lots of
yes,
experience. Yeah, to
yes.
try to keep down the impacts on the adjoining properties.
Yeah, but not necessarily a senior facility.
So. Okay. Anybody else we can help with? One of the things that I didn't mention that I realized that I didn't is there's 372 units planned, and this property will create 15% of those, or 56 of them, as moderately priced dwelling units for people that meet the income limits of the moderately priced dwelling unit program in Montgomery County. So a significant portion of the existing units will actually come back into the project as their rent is controlled through the moderately priced dwelling unit program. Okay, so I think the next thing that anyone who wants notice will see, and as a tenant, you'll probably get notice as well, because just like they hand delivered notice to you this time. The very next notice that will go out is when an application has been filed and has been accepted by Park and Planning for processing, then we will also be sending out a notice again. So it will go out by email to those who provided us email addresses, or by mail to those who provide us with mail addresses. And so that will be the next notice that anyone will get. And at that point, when you get that email or mailed notice, you'll have the ability then to go on to the website that I told you was montgomeryplanning.org/development. And you'll be able to see all of the plans and studies that have been filed as soon as that notice goes out.
May I ask, at the beginning, it went by so quickly. You mentioned W.C. Smith as manager. Did you mention the owner, please?
So the owner is Alonzo O. Bliss Properties LLC. They've been the owner of the property since 1974.
What was that last name?
Bliss.
Alonzo?
Alonzo
B-L-I-S-S?
Bliss. Yeah,
you.
BLISS.
Thank you.
So one of the questions on the chat was, is this going to be a condo? And right now it's planned as rental, an apartment facility. And one of the other questions here is, as a tenant, I just moved in. What should I expect? Will I be given a timeline of when I have to move out? So no one's being asked to move out right now. And as we said before, there's years ahead of us before we get to a point where, if this property is going to be redeveloped and permits are pulled, there will be a significant amount of advance notice before that, because we know that the rental market is interesting in Bethesda. So this landlord will give a lot of time in advance warning before there's going to be any change on this property, but you have years, so nothing's going to happen immediately. Okay, is there anything else I can answer? And if not, I will check the chat and include anybody who sent me a message with their email or their mailing address, and I'll include you on the notice list. You have my telephone number and my email. Feel free to reach out if you have any other questions, and I will get your questions answered for you. And I just hope everyone has a good evening, and we really appreciate your interest in the project going forward. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.